Put that coffee down.
I'm not here to waste your time, okay? I certainly hope you're not here to waste mine. So I'm gonna keep this short.
Helen, we're both in sales. Let me tell you why I suck as a salesman.
Most valuable commodity I know of is information. Wouldn't you agree?
Coffee's for closers only.
Hey there, friend. Welcome to the Behind Your Back podcast with me, Bradley Hartmann. Appreciate you making time for this today. We have a very important episode. I think you've made a good choice investing your time. I hope to reward you with a few ideas and insights, maybe even a challenge or two to help you navigate these very interesting times that we are in right now. We are sponsored by Boise Cascade, Engineered Wood Products. Boise Cascade, they help you move faster and build stronger. They make it easier to get more done, as well as our friends at Materials Exchange. They are the LBM industry's answer to E-Trade. They are your digital marketplace for lumber and panels. Now, on this podcast, we talk about leadership, personal productivity, time management, and the craft of selling in the construction industry, specifically when we have crazy pricing and allocation underway. So I'm excited to share some ideas with you here and a story or two in a reasonably short amount of time. That's my goal. So the title of this here episode, my friends, is Allocation, where a relationship business goes to get tested. So it is official. We survived the 2021 deep freeze that affected Texas. Got pretty cold inside of our home, kind of the mid-50s, which is a little bit frightening, especially the way they really button up the building envelopes down here in residential home construction in the state of Texas. But nonetheless, we survived. So no burst pipes and no worse for wear between Jenny T and I. Compared to some other Texans, we were very, very lucky. And I feel like there was like two phases to this. There was phase one, where we had a couple days, 48, maybe 72 hours of freezing temperatures, which the state just is not prepared for. There's no salt trucks, there's no snow plows, there's no shovels. I got made fun of for 5 years for hanging on to our Chicago snow shovels. But as it turns out, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. I was the only one around in our neighborhood who had a shovel. People were shoveling with brooms and dustpans, which in their own right are both absolutely ridiculous, but we made a lot of new friends in our neighborhood and we were happy to help. So phase one was really about, I think, the country just kind of making fun of us. For the first 72 hours, not one of my family members, who in theory loves me and cares about me and my family, nobody called. And then there was this phase two, which was oh, this is really bad. People are dying and people don't have water and there's burst pipes and it seems terrible. They're sleeping in their cars in Houston. What's happening? And then people started, I think, coming around a little bit nationally to us. And I think there's a reason for that. I think Texans, I know Texans, they have this superiority complex and there seemed to be this apt comeuppance here. And I think there's pretty good reason for it. Being an expat here in Texas, when you move here, most people don't know. As soon as you move and you make it official you live in Texas, they give you a white Ford F-150 for free. They give you a 3,000 square foot home with a pool for $150,000. They give you a star for your fence, which is absolutely mandatory because the homes are either 6 feet apart or 6 miles apart, one of the two. And the state is very pro-business and there's no state income tax. So for all these reasons, and there's awesome weather and the people are the nicest people, the friendliest people on the planet. I promise you. As an expat, people are incredibly friendly. So for all of these reasons, there is this air of superiority. So I think that's what really kind of triggered this phase one to phase two. But nonetheless, as we went through this process, anyone who has a pool, and there's lots of pools because it gets to 110 degrees in the summer, anyone with a pool was freaking out. The idea of winterizing a pool in Texas is not an idea. There's no plan. This is not talked about. So as all this happened, we saw our pool guy. His name is Chris Bowen. He started his company a few years ago, but we were one of his first customers. And Chris was very thoughtful and would go above and beyond. And we really appreciated him because we worked with a couple of jackasses before him. And what happened was, from the minute this started and the freezing temperatures and the rolling blackouts for the beginning of a week, he did something remarkable. Kind of common sense, but also remarkable. He just went on Facebook and Facebook Live and started answering questions for free. He was literally online for like 19 hours a day for 3 days in a row. Now, he couldn't go out. He couldn't do anything. Nobody could go anywhere because the streets were filled with snow. They weren't being plowed. It was dangerous as heck. He was just on Facebook answering questions. He would have people go out and take a picture. He would then send out videos. He would walk through individual customers. And there were literally thousands of eyeballs from all of these Texans in our area who were scared to hell because they didn't want to lose their pool and pay thousands of dollars by not winterizing their equipment. He was available, he was adaptable, and he was authentic. Now, things were changing quickly from day to day. Things were changing. The weather was changing, electricity was changing. So he was kind of on the fly, was really adapting his message. And it went from, hey, if you want to get ahead of this, if you still have power, do this. And then it was like, you're probably going to lose power if you haven't already. You need to do this, this, and this. He was doing video. He was answering questions. He was engaging with people in crisis. And it was a great example that I think we can all learn from, how we can all navigate the situation that we are in right now. And I would say the two most important people in our lives through this deep freeze of 2021, the people that were able to unite us locally and as a state, were Chris Bowen here handling the pool situation and Ted Cruz, which he did the impossible. He united the country on a political conversation about what not to do. I read a really poignant paragraph and they said there's only really 3 things you can't do as a politician. Number 1, never compare anything to Nazi Germany. That's a good rule of thumb. Number 2, never stray from the base of your party. It's a good idea. And number 3, never take a vacation when your constituents are in crisis. And Texans in general have this mentality of, when something happens, this sucks, how can I help you? And Chris Bowen and Ted Cruz really unite in very different ways to really help us navigate this situation. But here's the deal. When things get tough for your clients and your prospects, if you are available, you are adaptable, and you are authentic. Available, adaptable, and authentic. If you can be these things and understand that even though things are changing quickly, people still have a real need and fear and pain in their current life that you can help them with. Closer to home, we are in a different sort of crisis. Demand has far outstripped supply on pretty much everything in the building channel. Major door manufacturers, just for one, can't even get jams. They're raising prices 40 to 50% over the next quarter. Many folks don't have enough inventory on the ground, and that could be for 2 reasons. Number 1, they might not have the relationships to get product in the first place on allocation, or as the prices of everything have gone up, maybe they don't have access to the capital. There's too much risk in getting more inventory on the ground. But for whatever the reason is, we need to understand that we are in a crisis right now. In speaking to one major manufacturer about some of the issues they had with the supply chain, I said, just tell me what's happening, like in just your own words, right? I understand the big picture. Tell me what's happening from your perspective in the simplest language possible. And he went on for about 2 minutes and then paused when he was done. And I said, that is what people need. It's the plain speak. It's being direct and being candid and being honest, even if it's going to change. I said, why don't you come on the pod, differentiate yourself, and share what you just said there? I go, I think it's really powerful. He absolutely started laughing. And he said, quote, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. He said, there's no way, because there's no easy answer here. And I said, a 10-foot pole? What you're talking about is the story that your customers and your prospects in the market are receiving. Forget the 10-foot pole. You're already touching it with a 2-foot pole. No, you're touching it with your hand, because that message, that story is either being told by you or it's being told for you. There is zero chance the market is just saying, I'm thinking nothing. I am not trying to figure this out. I am just going to wait till someone smart tells me something. That is not how humans react. We're going to fill in the blanks if we don't hear a coherent story. We're going to try to find something that makes sense so we can figure out how to get some semblance of control over what's happening in our lives. And in the absence of insights and leadership from smart people, rumors are coming about. I talked to a friend and he said, here's what I heard. I heard this major door manufacturer, I heard they got hacked by the Russians. And he started listing off some of these details. And I said, it sounds like you're describing that SolarWinds hack that happened, at the end of last year, but a lot more details are coming out about now. He's like, SolarWinds? Who's SolarWinds? I'm like, no, what you just said was describing SolarWinds. He's like, I don't know what SolarWinds is. I said, so who told you this major door manufacturer got hacked by Russians? He's like, a friend. I'm like, who's your friend? Is he reliable? He's like, not really, but he heard it from someone. And I'm like, oh, I get it. This is the REO Speedwagon rumor. I heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from another that you were hacked by Russians, right? And I said, well, this sounds like a rumor. He's like, I don't know. But he's like, it would make sense. I go, why would it make sense? He's like, why would it not? And I'm like, all right, this conversation is idiotic. The point is, if there is not a coherent story from leaders saying, let me explain to you what's happening right now, and I can probably tell you it's something you don't want to hear, and there's no answer right now, but I'm going to tell you what I know now, and hopefully this can help you, and I will tell you more when I know more. In the absence of that, rumors will begin. And I've heard other folks say, well, this is just another crisis, right? The pandemic, theoretically, not that many would know it, state of Texas included, the pandemic is still happening. However, it's a very different stage of what it was 12 months ago, right? And people are saying, well, you got to keep in mind, we already know how to handle this because we've been through the pandemic and now there's a playbook. And I would say, well, let's think about this though. In the pandemic, there was a form of crisis symmetry. That is, we were all kind of screwed equally. We were all in the same boat. And as I told this to someone, he's like, yeah, exactly, just like now. And I'm like, no, erroneous, false. There is crisis asymmetry right now because the supply chain crisis of 2021 means you win, right? And the customer loses. Yeah, profits are going up. And when there is more supply than demand, prices go up, right? Revenue goes up, profits go up. The pain is one-sided. That is what defines asymmetry. So don't fall into the trap of thinking this pandemic and your relationship with customers and prospects that you're all in the same boat together. You're not. They're looking at you saying, well, you have a vested interest to limit supply because prices continue to go up and you had a hell of a profitable 2020 and now you're going to kill it again in 2021. And who gets screwed? I'm the builder. My framing package went up 30 grand in 6 months. Well, guess what? I sold this house 7 months ago. So where does that additional money come from? Yeah, out of my bottom line. So you're winning, I'm losing. So in a crisis that is asymmetrical, it requires a different thought process. It requires a different response. With clients and prospects and other companies in the market, I continue to see these e-newsletter updates that say something along the lines of, hey, just want to give you a heads up. It's not me. I would never do this to you. They're saying prices are going up 5% or 8% or 10% or 20%, or it's going over 40% in the next 90 days. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Talk to you later. And for clients, I'm saying, whoa, hey, let's think about this. We can't just go and drop a bunch of bad news with no further thinking. Well, technically, of course you can, but that is what most people will do. And if you want to be a leader in your market, you should be doing things differently. And at Pulte, I had a very simple rule. When someone would send along a price increase, I would, of course, look at it. I would review it. I would not pay it. I would not change the contract unless you provided ideas to offset the cost. I wanted you to help us think better. I wanted you to give us options. And very memorably, a salesperson just sent me over a fax of a fax of a fax from the manufacturer and said, hey man, I'm just the messenger. Don't get mad at me. There's nothing I can do, but the prices on whatever it was, craft face bats or something, are going up. And I just sent it back to him. I said, I will not accept this without any ideas or insights. Give us some ideas on how we can offset these costs. So he misinterpreted that, or maybe I was just a little bit too direct. And I got a call from their president. And he said, hey, I heard you're not going to honor the price increase. I said, that's not true. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, you will? And I said, well, it's an if-then situation. If you provide ideas to help us think better and give us options to not only on your category of product, but all of them, how can we run a better business so we can think about offsetting these costs if we wish? I'm just asking that you think. And I said, your sales guy, he said he was just the messenger. I don't need another messenger. I need someone who's going to help us think better and give us some alternatives. If that's too much to ask, then let me know. And whether it's in the next 6 months or 12 months, sooner or later, I'm going to find someone else who's not afraid to think a little bit to help us. And all of a sudden, his tone changed and said, totally understand. We'll get back to you in 24 hours. That's not too much to ask. You're not the messenger. We're not taking orders, although there's never been a better time in the world to just take orders in our business. This is fish in a barrel season. People you've been pursuing for 2 years are calling you begging for product at any price. I get it. I would encourage you to just resist that urge and say, how can I win this customer, not just for today, but for the next 3 years? How can I steal this customer from my top competitor? How can we do that? Now let's take a quick break to hear from one of our sponsors. You know that old cliche about delivering value in the form of outcomes? It's about drills, right? Why do people actually buy a drill? What do they really want? What's the outcome they're looking for? A hole, right? Well, at Boise Cascade, it's exactly what they deliver. Value and, a ton of holes. Last year, Sawtech Smart Saw Systems cut more than 1 million HVAC, electrical, and plumbing holes. That number represents thousands of hours in labor savings, reduced waste, and safer job sites. Now, as a former area purchasing manager who negotiated with framers, constantly trying to figure out ways that we could collaborate and build faster, better, smarter, and more economically, this is true innovation here. So contact your local Boise Cascade dealer today and see how you can frame faster with Sawtech. Faster, stronger, easier. It's not just what Boise Cascade does, it's who they are. So what's required here? How do we be available, adaptable, and authentic? Well, it really starts with thinking more. And the best companies right now, the clients that we're working with, are dedicating time specifically as a team, whether that's in person or Zoom, to just generate ideas, right? It's a volume of ideas. Bad ideas beget good ideas. So don't be afraid, or every other day or every other week, as things are changing, new information, new facts about what's happening in our industry will require new levels of thinking and new ideas to help our customers and our prospects navigate through this. We've got clients who are collaborating with their builders and they are buying storage lockers. We have one in the western part of the United States who bought space over the next 6 months simply to store materials next to a tire distributor. Do all their lumber and materials and windows and everything that's stashed in this place smell like rubber tires? Yes. Yes, it does. However, they have inventory now. They're making the sale now, but they're not going to need it for a couple months. So the question is, I can't just put it in my yard and put a sticky note on it saying, this is for Jim. That's not going to work. So they've leased storage lockers, they've acquired the materials, and they've dropped them off there. They're finding different ways to do this, right? Now, some people might think this is a terrible idea. Now, on the East Coast, a builder got creative. Next to the lot, or a couple lots down, was a church. The church had some siding issues, but they also had a large parking lot, and they were not allowing parishioners to come into church. So they struck a deal. Few grand a month, we'll fix your siding. We need to store stuff here for 90 days. They said, okay. So the church got some revenue, they fixed their siding issue, and they took advantage of some empty space they have to help a local builder who may or may not become a new parishioner. We're finding creative ways. We can't be afraid of generating some bad ideas, to throw them on paper, to suggest them to our customers in the event that they might not like them, or maybe they're bad ideas. But bad ideas beget good ideas. You need the volume there. So talk with your team more. So specifically, what can you do to be available, adaptable, and authentic? Well, you can think about Chris Bowen in the pool situation. Think about the classic line from Marshall McLuhan, the medium is the message. Is there a medium here today that is free, is easy to use, and is designed to provide up-to-date, real, live information that will not theoretically live on forever and be as relevant? It is for right now. Yeah, of course there is. That's Facebook Live. That's LinkedIn Live. You can use these channels and get on, Don't expect to make a perfectly tailored video. You're not going to do graphics. You're going to connect with people. You're going to talk about what's going on. If you need some help on that, Jeffrey Gitomer just came out with a book called Go Live. And in typical Gitomer fashion, there's Jeffrey Gitomer's name on like 90% of every single page you read. He quotes himself in the book that he wrote, which is just weird. But hey, that's his style. It's very short. But if you need a nudge, he will help you do that. So it's called Go Live by Jeffrey Gitomer. I'd recommend it to a friend. These mediums, Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, this is what they're for, right? Just like Chris Bowen went on to help people in crisis with their pools, you can do right now and share information and say, listen, I'm going to be direct with you. Things are changing quickly. I'm going to update them as I can. We're going to be here every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and we're going to shoot you straight. If you have questions, we can answer them in real time. We're going to be here for you. We're not going to have the perfect answer because that doesn't exist right now, but we're here with you. So an important question is why? Why would I do this? And for me, for my business, for my clients, I'm thinking about growth. I have greater aspirations. I want to grow in our market. And over the last few episodes, I've gotten some very candid feedback from people, and it sounds something like this. Listen, Hartmann, I understand what you're saying. I understand prospecting is always important, but if I can't manage my existing client base now, why would I go out and try to get new people to make my life even harder when I might not have as much inventory, right? And I said, listen, I get it. It's a legitimate question. I would also tell you, if you are running the same race as everyone else, but you're just trying to do it just a little bit better, just a little bit faster, that is operational excellence. It's easy to copy. What does differentiation look like? Yeah, it's doing different activities in a different way, and it's doing them now. So how am I thinking about this? Well, with our clients, we are rethinking the sales division of labor. Who does what? And if I've got a sales guy and he's got 84 accounts and maybe 25 or 30 of them are really active, he's saying, I'm already buried right now. What else can I do? And I would say, well, of these accounts that you have, of the 84, of the 30, how many truly need you? And the answer is, of course, everybody needs me. They only want to talk to me. They only call me. I'm saying, no. Your customers want quality products delivered on time at good prices from people they trust. That's what they want. Is there a world where you can transition these accounts or hire someone new to be an account manager whose only job is to, in the best sense of the word, babysit them and make sure they're happy? Does it have to be you? Because most of the time, it's ego. These are your friends. They know to call you. They trust you. If you say, hey, I'm going to transition you off to Trina. Trina's awesome. She's going to get back to you faster. She's going to do everything I do, but just give you more attention. And if anything, the level of attention and dedication and love that we give you will only go up by me handing this off to Trina. And the best news is I talk to Trina multiple times every single day. So there's only upside for you doing this. Your customers are going to say, no problem, right? So how do we rethink differently? And if you are a true sales professional, know this. True sales professionals who can go out and land new business to grow their market share in good times and in bad, we are in one of these moments right now. So if you can do that, it is your responsibility to let someone else do the customer service. Let someone else do the account management. Does that mean you need to hire somebody? It could be, but there's a lot of people who have the talent already or can be trained to get the talent to handle account management and customer service. What is really hard, what is rare, is true sales expertise. So know that. I used the analogy before about the lion versus the sheep. There's 1 billion sheep on earth. Are they important? Yes. Wool and meat and milk. Yeah, it's great. There's 1 billion of them. You can find talent there anywhere. Lions? There's only 25,000 of them on the planet. They are rare. For every one lion, there's 40,000 sheep. All right. If you're a true sales professional, we need you to grow your business. And here, right now is the time for you to do it. So it's your responsibility to say who, not how. It's not how we take care of the customer, it's who. If you're a true sales professional, it can't be you. We need you selling, having more meaningful conversations, not babysitting these existing accounts, right? And maybe you got to do that for your top 10, but not 30 and certainly not 84. So as we close out here, I'm going to switch the metaphor here. I'm going to use a homonym. Is it homonym? Homophone? Anyway, I'm going to come back to the pool situation, but different sort of pool. You know pool when you're playing pool, the game, billiards. There's this idea of a good leave. And the idea is amateurs, when they look at a pool table, they think about, all right, how do I hit the purple one in the corner pocket so I can get one in? Every shot, I want to get at least one in, right? What do the professionals do? They think about their leave, right? They think about their shot, and then the shot after the shot, and then the shot after the shot after the shot, right? They want to run the table. And it's really important about, from this action, this shot, where they leave the ball to make it easier to do the next one. And right now, we need to be thinking about that. And if there's a name for this, it's called a process. And too many folks do not have a process to diligently start new conversations, move those forward, help people to build a long-term relationship. Too many of us believe it's more art than science, right? There is a sales process. And if you don't have a sales process, that means we're just leaving it up to the whims of the gods. Whatever happens, well, I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to work hard and we'll see what happens and we're going to go from there. If you have a process to leave yourself a good leave consistently and have a conversation with someone who might represent your competitor's best customer, you start with some meaningful conversations and then you give them an insight or two. Maybe you do not sell him anything over the next 6 months, but you set up that relationship to make him your customer in 12 months. You got to think about the shot after the shot after the shot. Leave yourself a good leave. So following the deep freeze of 2021, we kind of circled back with Chris Bowen, and he said he nearly doubled his customer base over the last 5 days. So many people had said, I'm not paying this guy a nickel, and he's helping me winterize this. He's taking photos. Guys were going out with their iPhone videos, and he was walking them through exactly how to winterize. He was giving ideas, and he was available. He was authentic, and he was adapting his message from day to day. He doubled his business nearly in 5 days. Now, surely, that's going to come with some growing pains. But for a guy who wants to grow his business and steal market share from his competitors, this was a unique moment in time that he was prepared for. There's no reason you can't do that as well. So think about Facebook Live, think about LinkedIn Live, be available, be adaptable, be authentic. And of course, in sales, there's this idea of making the extra call. Make one extra call. I would firmly recommend you do this both on a professional level, but I'd also tell you to do this on a personal level. My 8th grade teacher, Mrs. Craig at St. Thomas More in Elgin, Illinois, in her early 60s, went to bed 100% healthy and didn't wake up the following morning. And as someone who has an 8th grader, start just thinking about the impact that had not only on her former students like myself, but her current students. So I will leave you with this here today. Make the extra call in your personal life, right? Times are crazy. We get busy. Make that extra call to someone you love, someone in your family, someone you have not spoken to in a while, or maybe just shoot them a text and say, hey, I've been thinking about you. Hope you're doing okay. We're in strange times right now. So not only on that professional level, make the extra call to help someone, make that extra call on your personal level. So, hey, with that, I want to close out by thanking our sponsors, Boise Cascade, engineered wood products, faster, stronger, easier. It's not just what they do, it's who they are, and our friends at Materials Exchange. They are the e-trade for lumber and panels. If you have not checked them out already, you're missing out. Go to their website, Materials, the letter X, and change. You can input the promo code BRADLEY, BRADLEY, to get your first trade free. Zero risk. Go in there, see transparent pricing. Now is at such an incredible time to find another source of reliable information that is transparent and clear. You can find it out on your own in seconds. I would strongly recommend you do that. So, friends, we're going to close out like we always do. You, my friend, are owed nothing. Deliver value first.